We're here with David Drew, and he's Chief Medical Officer for Samsung. And we are very excited to have him here with us. And we did an interview with him last year, and we will just follow up on some of the topics and some of the new trends that we see here at CES, and on the new trends that Samsung has in mind about the future of medicine and medical technologies. Thank you for having us.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much.
The big theme at CES is 5G. What are your thoughts about 5G for medicine and medical technologies of the future?
Well, I think the big capability with 5G is being able to move data very quickly, large amounts of it, and be able to process it, provide real-time information. So a big area that we've been focusing on at Samsung, specifically in healthcare, is around how data can be brought in from multiple different devices. Smart home obviously is a big area, but we've also been looking at remote patient monitoring and how data can be interoperable. More recently, we put out a position statement that we're in support of the open API standards that are being endorsed by many organizations across the country, specifically related to how data can be brought from electronic health records into one smartphone, into a cloud platform. We think that's a really important big step for consumers to be able to be empowered with their own data. And as you can imagine now, combine that with other sources of data, such as data from your fitness devices, your home. That's where the real big opportunities will be.
Are you already working with electronic medical record providers to work out kinks in data delivery and processing?
Well, the good news is that a large part of this work has already been kind of led by CMS and other groups, so that we're now starting to see that the initiatives are being well accepted and adopted by not only EHR vendors, but hospitals and health systems. So a big opportunity for us to start thinking about how we can democratize the data and normalize it and be able to make better sense of it.
You gave presentation today at the Digital Health Summit, right? It was about data and intersection of technology and informed consumer.
Yeah, I think there's a few things that we talked about. Certainly data was a very important part of it. The other thing that we talked a bit about was we talked about how technology can be used to address vulnerable populations. Those are individuals that have had disability due to injury, due to advanced age, due to chronic disease. In fact, we were just demoing one of the little devices, which you saw earlier, an exoskeleton, lightweight exoskeleton. We're looking to now figure out how that can be used to help patients with spinal cord injury, patients with stroke, and a variety of other neuromuscular conditions.
You mentioned some of the studies today at the presentation. You worked with you did some clinical studies, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So a large part of what we try to do is we try to validate that these technologies are leading to the outcomes that were of interest. So virtual reality obviously has been a big area of interest. You're looking at the use of VR to treat pain. Completed a randomized control trial with Cedars-Sinai Medical Center and our partner called Applied VR, demonstrated a 52% reduction in pain. We've been working with a variety of other folks across the country around other types of initiatives. There was one initiative I mentioned about how we can help those with disabilities. The 2019 CES winner for innovation is one of our partners. It's called Iris Vision. They specifically looked at how the use of a customized VR headset can help those with macular degeneration restore vision. Study done at Johns Hopkins showed patients with 2400 baseline vision improved to 2030 using this technology. So amazing stuff that we're seeing, huge opportunities.
Samsung is a large semiconductor developer. Are you excited about new technologies in semiconductor space that you think will impact medicine?
I think this has really been one of the key reasons why we're seeing such an explosion in terms of the number of sensors. The fact that microprocessing speeds have increased dramatically. The size of the chips is so much smaller. We're even talking about now things that could be ingestibles, implants into the body. We work very closely with all the leading medical manufacturers on medical devices such as Medtronic, Insulet, etc. And what we've been doing is we've been looking at ways that we can transform the experience so that rather than one of those patients pulling out their medical device, which may end up being sort of a larger walkie-talkie sized device that calls attention to the disease, they'll pull out a Samsung smartphone. And so we're looking at a variety of different angles, how the microprocessing chips can be used to enhance the speed, enable data and more data transfer, faster speeds. but at the same time also looking at how the data can be secured, so locking the data down both at rest and in transit with the NOC system on the Samsung devices. And that's really a large part of why these medical device companies and even the FDA are now willing to, and able to use smartphones as a means to be able to control medical devices.
Are there any medical concerns about 5G radiation?
There should always be concerns about things that we are unintended consequences, but from what we know today, we have seen that a lot of what we are doing is going to be tested well in many scenarios, piloted. So my understanding is that a lot of the initial concerns will all be kind of put to rest once we actually have a lot of the initial validations and testing. So I think it's a huge opportunity for us right now to start thinking about what's the future look like. Future is really bright because the big future is around how now the data can be brought into large amounts of data to be able to provide rapid, quick assessments, artificial intelligence to be able to enable us to be able to do automation. Automation could be in the form of automated cars, smart homes, remote patient monitoring.
Or smart implantable devices. That's or right. Wearables.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Wonderful, thank you.